Hello, Modern here. In today's video I want to show you a great high damage unit build focused around the Swordfighter class. The general purpose of a build like this is to take out dodge tanks and units which can be quite troublesome for anyone with a lower percentage hit rate like a warrior or sellsword. This squad is also a true powerhouse capable of clearing out a lot of fodder coming your way at the cost of 0 HP due to having a dodge tank of its own standing in the front lines. The effectiveness however wanes a bit against high health targets but can still hold up against guard tanks due to the immense firepower penetrating their defenses anyway. Why are health tanks a problem, you may ask? Because you're not going to relentlessly attack foes like a sellsword with multiple heavy hits per round. This unit is going to be a high damage ceiling unit but a low DPS one, meaning a health tank can just heal back up from your hits. Another problem are assist based range attacks due to no way to recover health and no way to prevent the hit from killing your low health units. But we can somewhat mitigate this one with Lex or any soldier unit as a squad leader, lowering the damage of physical ranged assists. We are also going to feature his arrow guards with more PP, which is a great way for dodge tanks to counter their counters. Now, if you like what I do and want to support me, make sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you have not already. I cover all sorts of RPGs, speed, strategy, C or ARPGs on this channel in form of extensive guides. So thank you very much for supporting me, and let's take a look into the special mechanics and synergies of the build in a bit more depth. The Swordfighter class has innate true strike on their attacks, allowing them to always hit a target no matter what. Keep in mind this is specific to their abilities. This also allows you to utilize items that penalize your hit chance for basically free, making them perfect candidates for the Gambler's Coin buff. Passive strikes do not trigger this buff, which is a very good thing for this class due to their first strike passive, which can initially take out dodge tanks before you strike the backline with a guaranteed AP crit attack. This one features a 50% crit chance buff. It is also very easy to get 50% base crit on a Swordfighter. Now the Gambler's Coin will further buff this unit's physical damage by 30% and of course the crit damage by another 50%, which work as two multipliers. A 100 damage hit will deal 200 damage on a crit in a regular scenario, but with a Gambler's Coin we are looking at an insane 325 damage, an absolute monster of a unit. But this needs to be set up, which can be quite challenging since we need to take into account all initiatives of every unit in the squad. BP abilities are also dependent on the initiative of the user, meaning you need to give the Gambler's Coin to the fastest support unit in the squad, with certain conditions allowing us to always buff the Swordfighter AP strike. Lastly, we need to look into how to counter high armor tanks efficiently with the squad to not make them a one-trick pony. For this we are going to use a fire-based mage, igniting walking shields for 20 fixed damage as well as damaging them with the initial hit. We also get access to a ranged attacker to counter archers in some capacity, and we get a potential additional buffer. The last two units are a thief tank up front stealing PP while dodging enemy attacks, and Lex in the backline, functioning as a buffer with the Gambler's Coin, protector with arrow guards once we get more PP, and AP drainer with their crimson EP. Those two units are here to shift the favor of battle towards us. Next, let's have a look at the stats, gear and tactics of each unit in the squad. I will also provide you with locations on where to find the respective items I mentioned in the video. The first unit in our squad is going to be Melisandre, a Swordfighter. We obtained this one at level 13 and comes with Keen Edge, Parry and Hasten Strike. The stat priority for this unit is going to be physical attack damage, critical strike rate to 50% and high initiative. We want to have the highest initiative in the party to strike first to get the benefits of the Gambler's Coin. We also want to outspeed our thieves, which come also with a high amount of initiative. As for the equipment, we're going with the Stingray sword, giving us 15% crit strike rate and poison immunity. The passive skill we obtain through this weapon is not going to be interesting to us because we do not use the PP efficiently at this point in the game, so it's mostly here for the physical attack damage and critical strike rate. So we need 10% additional crit strike rate to obtain the 50% crit rate at this level. Next we're going to use the Carnelian Pendant. This one gives us 1 AP, which allows us to use the Keen Edge ability 2 times. And lastly we are going to use the Warrior's Medallion, giving us additional physical damage and crit strike rate. This brings us to 50% crit strike rate, which pairs very nicely with the Keen Edge ability, giving us a plus 50% crit strike rate on top of it, guaranteeing critical strikes. The Stingray weapon can be obtained by recruiting Melisandre. The Carnelian Pendant is found in the Divine Shard store, through the Angel questline and at the Black Market. The Warrior's Medallion is obtained by conquering the Walled City and bought in Toulouse. As for the tactics, we're going to use Keen Edge, parry and hasten strike. Keen Edge is paired with the highest evasion target as well as hasten strike. This one reads as follows. Each and every unit in the game has an evasion rating, meaning even if the target has 0 evasion, it's going to be attacked at the end with the Keen Edge ability. However, this ability will also prioritize the highest evasion target, meaning a scout with 90% evasion is going to get hit with the Keen Edge ability, which has a true strike attached to it. Our other fighters do not have the accuracy necessary to hit them, so we want to take them out with this class instead. The next class is going to be Auch, a wizard. The wizard class is going to be a supportive class here. It's going to focus on high physical defense targets, which our party will be quite weak against. The fireball ability will also ignite targets, dealing true damage to them, so regardless of their armor they are going to get beat up, and we can somewhat counter high health targets with this one, meaning this class is focusing on tank destruction. If a target survives and we have our PP left, we're going to use the caloric ability Fire Burst, dealing AoE damage in the group, in the party. However, this ability is very unlikely to trigger because of the Dancer's Bracelet, which will trigger before that, buffing the damage of our scout and buffing the damage of our legs, our fighter. Lastly, we're going to utilize the Lapis Pendant to increase our PP by 1, which gives us 1 additional buff. Chlorotic is obtained by recruiting Auch or the mission above it. I cannot exactly remember this one. The Dancer's Bracelet can be bought in the La Blanche Hamlet as well as in Palvia Town, and the Lapis Pendant can be obtained in the Walled City, the Black Market, the Divine Shard Store, through the Ancient Quest line, and in the Overworld. So you will be able to obtain this one multiple times. As for the tactics, we're going to start with Fireball, which prioritizes armor targets as well as high health targets, which will maximize the damage we deal with this ability. Next up, we are going to buff our allies' physical attack damage by 30% with powerful calls because of the Dancer's Bracelet. This ability will mostly buff our Thief and Legs. If we want more magic damage, we can go into the tactics and then use the magic counter ability, which has a 150 potency, but we cannot target anyone with this one. It automatically targets the one that attacked our tank, meaning our scout. You can increase your damage significantly with this one if the targets have high physical defenses. Next up is the fighter class, our Legs. This one is mostly used to support. He features relatively high initiative, but has to have higher initiative than our Auch to override the Dancer's Bracelet, because we can only buff one single ability with one single PP ability. Meaning if we attack with our Keen Edge, we can only buff it either with the Gambler's Coin or with the Dancer's Bracelet, not with both. Since this one has high initiative, this one is going to be used first. This means the Gambler's Coin will buff the Keen Edge because of the priority on Inspiration. Inspiration has a priority with the back row and the highest physical attack damage, meaning it should technically only work on the Melisandre, except for when the Melisandre unit is stunned, which will lead to Auch being buffed, but we cannot avoid that. Now for this unit, we're going to utilize the Crimson EP, which will give us Active Shatter. Active Shatter inflicts a -1 AP debuff on enemies, so we're going to drain them of their action points, shifting the economy to us. Next up is the Viper Shield. We're going to utilize this one because we don't have the Azure Crest Shield on this specific character. However, it is better because it gives us 1 additional base PP, which we can utilize to use Inspiration 2 times or utilize to use the arrow cover. And of course, we're going to go with the Gambler's Coin, which gives us the Inspiration ability, which provides us with a buff to our next ally's attack with 30% additional physical damage as well as crit damage. And lastly, we have the Gambler's Coin, which also buffs our ally's next attack damage. However, this one is not only physical damage, but also magical damage. So if we buff our Auch in the backline, he will deal more damage. However, at the expense of accuracy, and he is not very accurate at all. This means if our Swordfighter is stunned, Auch will get the buff and will still benefit from it. As for where to find the items, the Crimson EP is bought in the Gnord Pledge Town. The Azure Crest Shield or any PP shield at that, if you can find any other, can be obtained in the Walled City, and the Gambler's Coin can be found at the La Blanche Hamlet and the Tichy downtown. As for your tactics, we're going to use the Active Shatter ability on targets prioritizing 1 or more EP. If that condition is not met, we're going to look at the Active Shatter with no conditions, meaning it will attack any target that's in range. Given our accuracy, we are also going to include the condition lowest evasion target. This means we're going to always maximize our hit chance. Then we have our inspiration with back row and the highest physical attack damage. So we are going to prioritize our Swordfighter. If that is not the case and the Swordfighter cannot act, we're going to prioritize Auch and not our Scout, which will in turn maximize our magic damage. Why we are not going to use it on our Thief is very simple, because of passive steal. Because passive steal needs to hit a target to drain them of their PP, we don't want to waste that ability. We need to hit, so we cannot penalize this attack. Meaning this rule is only here to prevent it to go on our Thief. It is not better on our Wizard, but it's much worse to get it on our Thief. And arrow cover is last, meaning if we get attacked after applying our inspiration and have an additional PP, like I already shown through, for example, the Azure Crest Shield, we're going to have an additional PP for arrow cover and can mitigate the damage like this. Lastly, we're going to look at Travis, our Thief. For him, we have the passive stability, so we want a sword with the highest physical attack damage possible with increased evasion, crit rate, or physical damage, or accuracy, or initiative. Doesn't really matter. Any stat is a good stat on this class except the guard rate, because we do not block. The next one is a generic item, the Silken Scarf, giving us 20% increased evasion, which is absolutely amazing. We can also get the Lucky Coin, which increases our critical strike rate and evasion, which buffs us to 94 evasion at level 10. This is incredible. The Black Iron Sword is obtained by recruiting Melisandre. You can also use any other sword that has beneficial stats. The Silken Scarf is bought in a variety of different towns. It's just a generic item. And then you have the Lucky Coin obtained by recruiting Sharon. She has the item equipped. For the tactics, very simple, we only have evade and passive steal. Passive steal prioritizes any target that has the most PP on the battlefield. Given this condition, overrides the default targeting rules but doesn't specify it will not attack or use the ability if there is no eligible target. We can assume that passive steal will always trigger, and this one is just a conditional or else ability. As for evade, we get hit, we evade. Very simple. This one automatically searches for a potential hit. So if we roll with the regular evasion and do not get hit, we then do not use the evade passive point. If we are hit, potentially we use the evade ability. This does not work on True Strike. Now in this game specifically, you can use a 5th unit. You cannot fill up the board with 6, you can only use 5. For this I can suggest another dodge tank or support. An angel like Orchulus can be quite good, provides you with a lot of additional evasion and a great ability like the Spiral Sword, which decreases the evasion of enemies and increases your evasion. They also feature high accuracy, which makes them a really good addition to the team. They also get the accelerate feature, which increases their initiative and accuracy, which in turn can mitigate the inspiration debuff. Now this sums up the video. If you liked what you saw, make sure to like, comment and subscribe if you have not already. You can also support me by joining the channel membership, which will allow me to keep making videos. So thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye.